This is the Bug Out Bag Kit Tools. This one might look a little intimidating, and it can feel that way, but it really shouldn't feel that way. It's not as bad as it might look. First thing I should point out is that you have major categories here: food and water, medical, hygiene, clothing, and then if you scroll to the next page, you also have lighting and communications, children or pets, miscellaneous, and information or storage. I should also point out that every category is being shown, yes, it's being shown by default, and every supply or equipment or whatever it is, every item is selected by default. I did this on purpose because I made the assumption that you're going to want to include the vast majority of the items shown, so rather than making you click and check every individual box to select it, I chose to make you unselect it if you didn't want it. Similarly, if you didn't want to include a particular category, if I go to the next page, for example the children or pets category, like say I didn't have kids or pets, then I would want to change this to no, and then it won't show further down in this report. And again, I can do this with any of them. Miscellaneous, say I didn't want any of these, they would all not show. So what happens when I've decided, well, hold on. If I decided I didn't want canned meats or coffee or crackers or so on, I simply unselect them. Okay? And what happens is, further down here, in the first section, that was the food and water section, when I unselect them, items in the two summary sheets, they won't show up here. Okay, take note here. The emergency rations, food bars, freeze-dried meals, granola bars, right? So say I didn't want those. I go back here, I unselect emergency ration bars, freeze-dried meals, granola bars, okay? So now I'm only going to be left with the hard candies, MREs, peanut butter trail mix. As you can see, I'm only left with those, hard candies, MREs, peanut butter trail mix, right? Hopefully that makes sense. The only way to add or remove items from that particular list is here. So say I made a mistake and I'm like, oh, I want freeze-dried meals. So I go ahead and check it. Okay, so when we go back, now freeze-dried meals is here. A couple other things to note, and I won't do it here, but you can make changes to these. If I want to change the item description, you can do that. Comments are just something I've added to try and make more sense of it, but you can change that too, or add to it. Just remember, if you start typing, say I started typing here, it's going to make it, it's going to expand the box, which may be okay for you. I personally don't like it. I like to make it all fit and be uniform. Also, the quantity, this is just for you to keep track, but say for example you decided you didn't get just one freeze-dried meal, you did 3. You can go ahead and change that. Maybe you didn't want Mountain House and it was Wise Food, you can do that. Expires, freeze-dried foods, they're going to last a long time, but say they had an expiration date, or perhaps I wanted to check on them and replace them by this time, I can do that. It's more of a, you can glance at it and say, hey, it's past September of 2015, September 11th. Now beyond that, once you've decided on exactly the items you're going to include in here, once you've started procuring them, you should check this to yes instead of no. And if you'll notice when I did that, this number here, items procured, changes. And it's really just another way to tally and verify that you've got everything you wanted. So since I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items here, and I have one of them, that's 20% of the total. If I also chose to add hard candies and gum, now I'm 40% of the way. If I went ahead and got all of them, now I'm 100% of the way to everything I need. Okay? Now beyond that, one other thing you can do is to add more rows. Say there's something you want to add to the list that I didn't include. You just click the Add More Rows button and you have a blank row here. You can add whatever you want. Okay? And you also notice that when I did that, this number changed because it's set to default of no, I don't have it. Alright, so if whatever it happens to be, and then I get it, Now I'm good, 100% again, alright? If I wanted to add more rows, I don't have to click up here. Once I have a blank line, I can add another one here. Say I made a mistake and said, oh no, I don't want that row. I click on the minus sign. It wants to make sure that, hey, yeah, you do want to delete this. You say yes. Okay, and so it goes away. Maybe I didn't want this row either. And that's all there is to it. Everything else works the exact same way. Again, remember, you can change this information if you like. It's no problem, but it won't change up here. Okay, so that's all there is to the bug out kit. The vehicle kit is exactly the same idea as far as how it works, but there are some differences in some of the categories and maybe some differences in the items inside the categories. Alright, that's all there is to this one.